It was 1968, and the war in Vietnam was in full swing. My grandfather, a Korean War veteran, moved his family to northern British Columbia to the Cariboo region, and he built a house overlooking the Nasco River. He wanted to give his sons a better chance at life and to find peace during the war. I was 4 when we moved out from the city to the country, and while we didn't live completely off grid, we didn't have running water, a phone, a bathroom, indoor plumbing of any kind, a shower, or really anything we needed to get started. My parents built all of that over time, and it didn't happen overnight. Looking back, it's incredible to see how everything came together. My parents built more than just the basics. They also built corrals, fencing, carports, and anything else that we needed, including a treehouse. They would always do odd jobs just to try and get by, especially in the country where there was not very many jobs. I didn't come from money. My parents never paid for college. They never bought me a car. In fact, my parents always told me, if you want something, get it yourself. So I did. I moved out when I was 16 years old, and I built a life for myself. I got my first phone, my first job, my first car, all of that on my own. My parents didn't even co-sign. It might have taken me longer than it took other people, but I knew that I was capable of doing it and that I could do anything that I wanted because my parents showed me the way. I learned that no one owes me anything, and my parents certainly don't owe me an easy life. And while I didn't come from money, I did come from a place rich in culture, in adventure, and in peace. They showed us that if we wanted anything, we could do it as long as we worked hard enough and really put our mind to it, and didn't become victims of the things that we didn't have. One Easter, my sister and I were walking to my grandparents' house looking for Easter eggs, and we came across a moose that was stuck in the fence. He was trying to jump uphill over the fence, and he managed to get his hoof stuck, landed on the ground, and his hoof went underneath the fence. He seemed kind of hopeless. So, in order to save this moose, my sister and I had to go maneuver ourselves around him and push his hoof down physically so that it would unravel and he would be free. One simple kick, and he could have easily broken one of our legs. Obviously, moose don't speak English, so the only thing that we had to communicate was deep focus, eye contact, and a mutual understanding that no one was going to hurt the other. And we just knew. And he remained calm, and we remained calm. And we managed to get the moose free, and he even did the classic look back, so, as if to say thank you for rescuing him. Nature is not somewhere we go. It's an inherent part of our being, and she is always trying to communicate with us. In today's distracted society, we seem to have lost the ability to be present and engaged. Most of our communication happens through a device that leaves out much of our context, tone, and understanding, that we're constantly crossing boundaries and misinterpreting very important signals that lead to a complete misunderstanding of each other. As society becomes more and more polarized, if we can remember to just put away the phone, be present, and truly hear each other, you'd be surprised at what you might hear, what you might learn, and what we actually might have in common. But there's also some differences, different ways of living, different belief systems, and just different ways of doing things in general. And that's also okay. In fact, when you go into a forest or a grassland, you will never come across a monocrop. When we look out into those fields and forests, all we see is diversity. And all of those plants work together in harmony to create an incredible ecosystem where all living beings can thrive, contributing their own magic and their own way of being that makes the landscape such a beautiful sight to see. When it comes to the health of the land and the soil and even our gut health, diversity is the most important factor. Removing just one species of plant can have detrimental effects to the entire ecosystem. Just like in the wild, we all need each other. And when we work together, we create the beautiful landscapes that make everything so gorgeous. And we all thrive when we stop worrying about the superficial things that really don't matter. Diversity is strength. So even if you happen to not have the same opinion, remember that they still contribute to the beautiful landscape, even if their opinion is different than yours. Over the summer, I went home to visit my parents, and we went for a four-wheeler ride through old logging roads. The first thing I noticed was what was once a wide enough road to hold two full-size logging trucks now only had enough room for one, as new plants and trees were poking up through the pavement on each side. As we continued to follow these roads, they eventually disappeared completely. Nature had completely taken them back over. Soon we were surrounded by a new forest and new growth. Trails that we once used all the time no longer existed. We've seen some devastating wildfires in Canada over the years, and now when we go to those same wildfire spots, we see a whole new forest filled with lush new green trees. It was a beautiful reminder that nature and time heals all wounds. Thank you.